What's up, guys? KTK here, back with another banger here on 2K21, and today we are going to be talking about what I believe is the best budget players right now to buy in the game. Now, most of the cards are going to be from around 2K, about 1K to 4K. They shouldn't be much more. There's one player in here, maybe two players in here, that might be maybe three, that might be a little bit more than that, but those players are still considered budget because they're still going to be at the highest maybe 10K, and they're very, very important players, and that's the reason why they're on there. I think they're almost vital to the game if you are using a budget squad. If you can fork over that quick 9-10K MT, I wouldn't get these players until you're probably playing online limited, triple threat online in unlimited. Other than that, I'd probably stay away from these cards for right now, let their prices come down a little bit. Now, I made a list earlier with all the best budget players, and within 2-3 hours, I've had to change it because something happened. The budget cards went all over the place, and a bunch of good cards dropped way below. So once you see this video, get out there right now, get these cards, because some of these cards are 2 to 3K right now, and they were anywhere from 6 to 7. So you want to pick these up right now. Especially a couple of these names I'm going to say, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to go scoop that up right now. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the two lower overalls I have first. And the first one is going to be Eric Bledsoe. Now, Eric Bledsoe is a emerald point guard for the Milwaukee Bucks. You can get him in and around 1.5K, I believe. I just saw him for one for 1.1K earlier. See, the market's all over the place. I just saw one for 1.1K, but I do think he's a vital player to the game. If you can get him around for that 1.5K, even 2K is maybe a little bit, I'd go for like 1.7, 1.8K. Why I think he's a very vital player is he's a very, very cheap player. He's 6'1", not the greatest height. He's gonna finish at the basket decently well with an 84 driving layup. He's going to hit open shots if you can time it right. With the shooting this year, it's very difficult. So if you can time it right, he will hit his open jump shots. He's got a decent ball handle, but he is a great defender. And that is what is most important. He's a great third point guard, maybe even second point guard to come off the bench, or even first point guard if you just need a defensive point guard. I really value him with his value around 1.5K. I think he's great value. You have silver clamps here. He's got a lot of really good. He's got bronze quick first step too, which is important. I think at this stage in the game, silver clamps, or clamps in general, and quick first step are the two most important badges to have. And the fact that he has both at a 2K, 1.5K value card, I think it's very important to go and scoop him up if you can for around that price. Now, the next player I have is going to be Boban. Now, Boban is can be one of the more expensive cards because he is basically fitting to the meta of the game. It's very, very hard to get around Boban right now because of how big he is. As you can see, he's at 6K. I saw him earlier today, about 2.53K. So maybe don't get him right now, but I just want to make you aware of a couple players. There's going to be one or two more guys like this that I just want to make you aware of, especially when you go into the online streets. Maybe paying 3.54K is not a bad idea for him. Yes, he doesn't have badges, but again, he is a 7'4" center right now. It doesn't really matter how bad his interior defense is. He's going to seem like a god, especially this year with how the shooting is and the layups. He's also a good rebounder. Yeah, I said he doesn't have badges, but just as a 7'4" center with not a ton of big centers in the game right now, he is going to be just dominant. So I just look out for him. Budget ballers, keep him on your mind, because if you see him stoop below, I'd say 3.53K, I'd scoop him up right away because I think he's very vital, especially for the online streets. Now, the next player I'm going to go with is another defensive point guard, and this is Maurice Cheeks. Now, Maurice Cheeks came out in the East part of the tip-offs set that came out today. Now, I also value him very well. That's a sniper there. Of course, I don't have enough MT. He's probably been already sold. It's been a minute. I value him even more than Bledsoe. You're probably going to have to pick him up, yeah, maybe for an extra 500 MT to 1,000 MT for Bledsoe. but what you're getting back is completely worth it. As you can see there, he is a sapphire, but he has an 83 offensive overall, which is pretty normal, but a 93 defense. He's going to finish well at the rim. He's got an 87 driving lamp, an 87 free throw, which is important because I realize when playing domination, I get to the free throw line a ton because I'm constantly attacking the basket because I'm not trying to shoot too much. So that is also a very important stat that's probably overlooked most of the time, but he does have a good free throw. His three-point is okay. I have greened a couple with him in online games. Actually, in a limited game I just played, I greened 2 threes with him. So he can hit them. Mid-range is good. He's got great playmaking, but look at the defense. As a point guard, he has a 70 interior defense, which doesn't seem like a lot right now, but that's huge. He also has a 97 perimeter defense and 86 steal, which is huge. Plus, he's got great speed with ball and accelerations at the beginning of the year, and a 96 lateral quickness. Now, taking a look at his tendencies as well, if you go here to his defense, he has a 98 on-ball steal tendency and a 95 pass perception tendency. This man is the ultimate budget cards for defensive point guards. He is a great card. He's my starting point guard because I don't run my offense through my point guard. So I run it through a player I'm going to mention later. He's like one of those Bobons. He's really high up in price right now. But if you're going to the online streets, he's absolutely important to have. And I do think Maurice Cheeks is another one of those players because of how good of a defensive point guard he is. Now, if you even take a look at his badges, Dimer, great one, pickpockets, a good one, pick dodger, but he has gold clamps as well, gold interceptor, all these gold defensive badges, gold quick first step as well, gold space creator. This man has all the gold badges I believe you need, which I think the only 2 gold badges you should look for in the beginning is quick first step and clamps. If a player has those golds, they are a good player, and he's a great player. I think he's great value at what he's valued at, so I would definitely check him out. Now, the next player I'm going to be going with, I'm just going to kind of group these guys together real quick. These ones are going to be a little bit quicker. So, earlier when I made my list, most of these guys were not on here. I don't know what happened with the auction market. These guys were anywhere from 6 to 8K earlier. Now, look at these guys now. Nikola Jokic, I do not recommend. Now, I think once the shooting, I think there's going to be a shooting patch that comes out. He's going to be the best center in the game to fit that meta. As of right now, he's still a good center. He's got a good standing dunk, good driving dunk. He can shoot the ball if you're getting the shooting down. He can shoot very well. He's got good post game as well. Decent defense for the beginning of the year, good rebounding, also decent speed for a big man. He's got plenty of silver badges that are good, plenty of defensive ones as well. He doesn't have clamps, but at the center position at the moment, I don't think clamps is the most necessary. I think center is one of the positions you can probably get away with not having a clamps player. So I recommend Cat probably as a Ruby center, especially for 3.2K. That's just a steal. And the other center I would suggest is the Joel Embiid as well. Embiid is better than Cat right now because of how the game is. So if you're looking to play really the meta of the game right now, I would probably pick up Joel in front of Cat. Joel, very similar player, as you can see the stats there. The Silver Intimidator is a big one. Joel Embiid is a little bit better defensively, I think, than Cat, but again, isn't as great as a shooter. If you were really looking for a shooter, if you're getting shooting down, I would go for Cat. If you're going for the defensive meta, definitely Joel Embiid for that one. So those are the Ruby centers that I think are very good. So I'm going to bump it up a little bit more here to about 4.3K, we'll see, and see what else we can get, just to see if the prices have fluctuated any more. But our next player, if I cannot find him here within the next couple of scrolls, is going to be Paul George. Now, Paul George is probably one of the best players, best wings for sure in the game. I did just see him in and around the 4K range. As I said, the auction market, the auction house is really weird right now. You really gotta, as you can see, one for 4.4. That one's probably already been bought, but you can see he's going up for around the 5K range, which is a complete steal for this card. You look at this card right here. Just looking at the badge layout, he's got 24, 14, and 2. So this guy, the guy posting this up, must have put gold badges on him, as he normally has 25 and 15 over there on the left. But he's 6'8", who can play the shooting guard, small forward, which is great height. Good driving layup, which is important. Good shooting, decent driving dunk, decent ball handle, great defender, decent speed as well. He's got a great release from what I remember. Now, Green Machine and Volume Shooter are probably silver badges. This guy had just upgraded, must have upgraded them to gold. But he's got silver clamps. He's got silver defensive leader. I'm pretty sure he has bronze. Yeah, bronze quick first step there. He's a very, very good, and he's also got bronze range extender, which isn't a very common badge you see at the beginning of the year. I really rate high Paul George, especially for his value and how much he's going for right now. If you see him anywhere from 5 to 6K, snatch him up, because he could very well in the next couple of days, creep down into 3-4s, but I've seen him at 3 and I've seen him at 15 today. So if you see him around that 5K range, I'd pick him up. At least at the most you're missing out maybe on 1,000 MT, which you can make back in like one domination game. So if you see him for 5K, that is great value. Pick him up. Now who I have next is Jamal Wilkins. Now this card I'm just going to go over real quickly because he's very, very similar to, I meant Jamal Wilkes, not Jamal Wilkins. He's a very, very similar card to Paul George. As you can see, his price is going up a little bit more too. At 4K, I probably see him more around 3.5, 3K range. As you can see, 3.9 there. But this card is just Paul George with a little bit of different stats. He's a better finisher, worse three-point shooter, but a better mid-range shooter. He's got a better driving layup. Same pretty much playmaking stats. A little bit better defender, a little bit better rebounder, a little bit faster. Laterally, he's a little bit faster, but he's also got great gold badges. I mean, as you can see, he's got silver intimidator and silver pick dodger. He's got great finishing badges on gold, as well as having gold clamps, which is huge, especially for a shooting guard. I think he is probably just as valued as Paul George, and especially if you can get him for 3.5 to 4K, even down into the 3K range. That's an absolute steal for this card. He's going to be a great wing for you, especially if you play Jamal at the 2 and Paul George at the 3. You're putting two guys out there who can shoot decently, finish at the basket really well, and who are going to clamp up on defense, which is one of the most important things in the game right now, is finding the players with clamps. So I rate him very highly for his value. Definitely go and pick him up as well. Now, this next card, which, as you can see, I'm typing in his last name here. This card is very, very expensive right now because people figured out how good this card actually is. This card is the meta. I know I said Boban is kind of meta because of how big he is. There's another player later that I think is very good as well. Very close to Boban, probably a little bit better because he can spread the floor a little bit. You probably know who I'm talking about now that I said that. This Ben Simmons right here, he is around 10K. I probably would wait maybe a day or two. I picked him up myself because I started playing some online. I got my first W with him. This man is insane. So if you go in here, he's a 6'10". He is a small forward, power forward, but 6'10" is still good height for that. Great driving layup. Obviously, he's not a shooter, so don't think you're getting a shooter here. He only has a 78 driving dunk, but that feels like a 90 on Ben Simmons. And you're going to realize that if you go and pick this card up, he feels like he has a 90 driving dunk. Ball handling, if it's 78, but it feels good. He's a great defender. And that 84 speed and 76 speed with ball has to be a lie. Because when I started playing with this man, it felt like he had supersonic speed. This man was flying around the court with and without the ball. Now, as of badges, he has a good amount. He's got dimer, pickpocket. He's got all the good finishing badges as well as bronze clamps, bronze intimidator. He doesn't have quick first step, which for some people that might worry them a little bit. But honestly, he doesn't need it. He flies by people really well. He just finishes at the rim, especially if you use stick. If you figure out the stick finishing at the rim, he's going to be a huge card for you. I recommend picking him up. I probably would wait a day to see if he comes down a little bit more. I know I picked mine up for about the 6.5, 7K range because he keeps moving up. 10K. He was, before I started this video, about 8.5K, so I would wait, probably snag him around the 7K, 6K range, so I'd probably wait maybe a day to see. But if you're going on to online, I think he is the most necessary player to have. So if you have 10K and you're willing to spend it, drop it right there on Ben Simmons, play your games. If you decide, I'm just going to go back to offline, I'm not ready, or I played my online games, I'm going to go back to offline, I'd probably sell him off and wait until you play online again and then buy him back if he's cheaper. Now, I got a couple more guys here, 3, and we're going to start off here with Luca. Now, if Luca is a shooting guard, small forward, which kind of sucks. I was hoping he was going to be a point guard, as that is where he plays in the NBA, but still, as a shooting guard, he has decent size at 6'6". Didn't mean to do that. He's got plenty of badges. I think he probably has some of the most badges in the game if we check him out right here. He has 39 silver and 2 bronze. He's 6'7", my bad, I said 6'6". He's a decent shooter. He's going to finish well at the rim. Obviously, great playmaker. Decent defense. Speed is alright, but he feels faster for sure because it is the beginning of the year. Now, if you look through his silvers, you can look here, but he's got dimer, he's got contact finisher, fancy footwork, downhill, quick first step. I believe he has clamps, or he's got silver range extender. He does not have clamps, but he does play defense fairly well for not having clamps. So if you are looking for a clamps player, maybe this isn't the player to pick up because he is more going to be an offensive threat, more of a one-way player. If you're looking for that two-way player, definitely go for Paul George and Jamal Wilkins. But if you're looking for an offensive threat, pure offense, I would go in pure offense and a playmaker, I would go with Luca. I do value him a little bit less than Paul George and Jamal Wilkins. I would say get those two guys first, and then if you need a third wing to come off the bench, I would definitely get Luca. Now for my last 2 players, I have Damien Lillard. Now if you pre-ordered, you obviously got the pre-order edition Lillard, and I wouldn't buy this Ruby Lillard because there really isn't that big of a difference. I do value this Lillard in and around 3 to 4K, so if you find him in there, buy him. He has 40 silver badges. 40. That is a ton right now. Silver badges, I know we're just getting into the end cycle of 2K20 and we're moving into the beginning of 2K21, so you're like, silver badges, these suck. But at the beginning of the year, any bronze or silver badge means something. So you really want to look for that. Now Dame, he's going to finish super well at the rim. He's going to shoot well if you have it down. Great ball handler. He's fast. His lateral quickness is going to feel a little bit quicker because, again, it is the beginning of the year. His perimeter defense, if it scares you a little bit at 70, I wouldn't worry about it because I do think he plays defense fairly well. Again, he's got most of the same silvers as Luca did. He's got quick first step on silver there. Green machine, hot zone hunter, silver range extender. Again, he does not have clamps, but he plays defense decently well as well. I would use him probably as my second point guard or third point guard, more as an offensive type threat versus a defensive. I myself start Maurice Cheeks as my point guard, like I said earlier, because I run my offense through Ben Simmons. So I don't have to use Damien Lillard as much. I can get another second defensive point guard. But if you like to run offense through point guards and you like to inbound the ball and rim run, pick up Damien Lillard. And another guy that is close to Damien Lillard in that aspect is going to be Jeff Teague and Russell Westbrook. I would look into those guys. Those are guys similar to Damien Lillard, not nearly as good, but they're going to finish at the rim well in that respects if that's the type of game you're playing. Now for the last 2 players I have, they are both bigs, and I think they are very important to the game and to the meta. Again, these are 2 guys who are more expensive on the budget end right now, so I'd maybe wait for them to come down a little bit. But again, if you're going into this the streets, I think you can pick these guys up. I have not personally picked up either of these guys yet. I just wanted to play a quick test game, but I do believe that Kristaps Porzingis is probably the second best center that you can buy, especially on a budget in this game. He currently is in around, I saw him for about 5 to 6K today. I don't know where he's sitting now. Yeah, probably more about the 7K range because like I said, it's fluctuating so much right now that if you find a guy for low, pick him up for low. I'd say 6K, 6.5K is a very fairly good price for Kristaps. And the reason you're gonna see that is he's a 7'3" center, so he's 1 inch smaller than Boban, but he can spread the floor. He's also got a decent driving dunk for being as big as he is, with a good post game. He's a better defender. He's got good rebounding stats, and he can move a little bit better up the floor, as well as Boban has 0 badges. Kristaps got silver catch and shoot, worm, cross key store, deep hooks, difficult shots, rim protector, and bronze intimidator, which are very important badges to have. So if you are looking for a center and you're willing to spend around 5 to 6K MT, I would be looking at Kristaps Porzingis as my center. Now, for the last player on this budget list, I know this video is going to be long as well, but I really wanted to go into detail, giving you guys the best budget players I think fit the meta right now. And the last player I have is Rick Smits. Now, Rick Smits is another like Ben Simmons. People have seen how OP he is. He's going to be around the 8 to 10K range right now. I'd wait to see if he can dip into the 5-6K range, maybe even 6.5K. I probably wouldn't spend 8K on him right now, but like I've said multiple times, if you're going straight into the online streets right now, pick this man up. He's got 82 offense, 87 defense, good post game. He can spread the floor from the mid-range. The three-point shot isn't great. He's got very good defense stats, very good offensive and defensive rebounding, and very good speed. Now, you might be saying, why is this man better than Kristaps if Kristaps can spread the floor and there's a 1 inch difference? Well, for half of it is strength. Kristaps is not the most strong, isn't the most strong guy on the court, and Rick Smits is going to bring a lot of strength, which is huge, especially for a 7'4" big man. But also because of this, Rick Smits is a Ruby with 17 gold badges, including postman technician, drop stepper, rim protector, box, defensive leader, intimidator, rebound chaser, post move lockdown, trapper, worm, pick and roller, and brick wall. Now, just looking down those, he has some of the most important gold defensive badges and some of the most important post badges as well, which is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be running a lot of pick and rolls to him. And also the fact that he has an 85 mid-range is insane. Now, those are my budget players. If you want to see another video, maybe with some budget players that are even cheaper, maybe around the 1 to 2K range, leave a comment down below. I can get that out to you guys as soon as I can. Go and pick up these players, especially when they dip to those very high valued ranges that you want to pick them up at. If you can get them, I would get them, because these guys are great, especially if you're starting to go into this limited or unlimited right now. These guys are amazing because they really do make a big impact on the game, especially at such a cheap price right now, because most amethyst, especially even the ones that came out today, are still like 20K. And even though some of them are good, I think some of the amethysts that came out today are very good. I think this Allen Houston is a very solid card. But I think at his value, even 20K, that's not terrible. I probably would still stay away from it. If you do happen to have a lot of money though, I would go ahead and buy some of these amethyst cards, especially with as cheap as they are now. Mitch Richmond I think he is a very, very good card. So if you do have the money, I would go up and pick a offensive threat like Mitch Richmond. But other than that, I would stay into those budget players because of how well they are going to play, especially if you set up the meta correct with Ben Simmons, Rick Smits, and KP, and Boban as well. That is the video, guys. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you leave a sub. If you want more videos like this, more budget baller stuff, leave a comment down below what you want to see. I hope this helps you guys out, and I'll see you guys